House of the Dragon Season 2 Recap. Everything you need to remember. Before Season 3. The new season of House of the Dragon is finally here. And before we dive back into the brutal civil war, known as the Dance of the Dragons, let's take a complete look back at everything that happened in Season 2. From shocking assassinations and dragon battles, to political betrayals, and the rise of new dragon riders, Season 2 changed the course of Westerosi history forever. The season begins in the aftermath of one of the most tragic moments in the series. Prince Lucerys Velaryon is dead. At the end of Season 1, Lucerys and his dragon Arax were hunted down and killed by Prince Aemond Targaryen, riding the mighty Vhagar. News of Lucerys' death reaches Dragonstone, and Queen Rhaenyra is devastated. Her grief quickly turns into rage. Meanwhile, Jacaerys Velaryon travels north to seek support from House Stark. At Winterfell, he meets Cregan Stark, Lord of the North. The meeting is important because it secures northern support for Rhaenyra's claim to the Iron Throne. Although the North cannot immediately send large armies, Cregan promises loyalty to Rhaenyra. This alliance will become increasingly important as the war expands. Back at Dragonstone, Daemon Targaryen is consumed by anger over Lucerys' death. Unlike Rhaenyra, who still hopes to avoid total war, Daemon wants immediate revenge. Acting without Rhaenyra's approval, he hires two men who become infamous in Westerosi history: Blood and Cheese. Blood is a former gold cloak, and Cheese is a rat catcher familiar with the secret passages beneath the Red Keep. Together, they sneak into the royal castle and force Queen Helaena into a horrifying situation. They demand that she choose which of her sons should die. After a terrifying confrontation, they murder Prince Jaehaerys instead. The assassination shocks the entire realm. Although Lucerys' death was tragic, the murder of a young child horrifies both nobles and commoners alike. The event becomes one of the darkest moments of the Dance of the Dragons and permanently damages support for Rhaenyra among many people. As the war intensifies, propaganda becomes a powerful weapon. In King's Landing, the Greens use the murder of Jaehaerys to portray Rhaenyra as a monster. Stories spread throughout the city, painting her as a cruel and bloodthirsty queen willing to kill children to gain power. At Dragonstone, tensions continue to rise. One of the most emotional moments of the season involves the twin brothers Eric and Eric Cargill. Once inseparable, the Civil War has placed them on opposite sides. Eric remains loyal to King Aegon II, while Eric supports Rhaenyra. Criston Cole sends Eric on a dangerous mission to infiltrate Dragonstone and assassinate Rhaenyra. Disguised as his twin brother, Eric nearly succeeds. However, the real Eric discovers the deception. The brothers engage in a heartbreaking duel. Neither man truly wants to fight the other, but loyalty and duty leave them no choice. In the end, both brothers die, symbolizing how the Dance of the Dragons is tearing families apart across the realm. While political schemes continue, the military situation becomes increasingly desperate. Both sides understand that dragons will ultimately decide the outcome of the war. This reality leads to one of the most important battles of the season, the Battle of Rook's Rest. Criston Cole develops a clever strategy designed to lure the Blacks into a trap. The castle of Rook's Rest becomes the bait. When the castle is threatened, Princess Rhaenys Targaryen decides to respond. Rhaenys rides Meleys, one of the largest and most experienced dragons in Westeros. She knows the mission is dangerous, but she chooses to fight because the Blacks desperately need a victory. What follows is one of the most spectacular dragon battles ever seen in the franchise. Initially, Rhaenys faces King Aegon II riding Sunfire. Although Sunfire is beautiful and powerful, Meleys proves to be a formidable opponent. Then, everything changes when Aemond arrives on Vhagar. Vhagar is the largest living dragon in the world, and her presence immediately shifts the balance of power. The skies erupt into chaos as three dragons clash in a brutal battle. During the fight, it becomes increasingly clear that Aemond is willing to sacrifice almost anyone to achieve victory, including his own brother. Whether intentional or not, Aemond's actions contribute to the devastating outcome. Meleys is killed. Rhaenys dies with her dragon. Sunfire suffers catastrophic injuries. King Aegon II is severely burned and barely survives. Although the Greens technically win the battle, the cost is enormous. Both sides lose valuable assets, and the political consequences are just beginning. With Aegon gravely injured, a power vacuum emerges in King's Landing. Unable to effectively rule, the king is largely confined to recovery. This allows Prince Aemond to assume greater authority. Soon, Aemond is named Prince Regent. Aemond's rise dramatically changes the direction of the Green faction. Unlike Aegon, who often acts impulsively, Aemond is disciplined, ambitious, and ruthless. He believes victory can only be achieved through overwhelming force. At the same time, King's Landing begins to suffer from severe shortages. The naval blockade organized by Corlys Velaryon disrupts trade and prevents supplies from reaching the city. Food becomes scarce. Prices rise. Ordinary people struggle to survive. As conditions worsen, public frustration explodes into violence. Riots erupt throughout King's Landing. The small folk begin questioning whether their rulers are capable of protecting them. The suffering of common people becomes a recurring theme throughout the season, reminding viewers that wars between nobles always have consequences for everyone else. While these events unfold, Daemon travels to Harrenhal. His storyline becomes one of the most unusual parts of the season. At Harrenhal, Daemon experiences strange visions, dreams, and psychological struggles. He confronts memories, regrets, and fears that have haunted him for years. The castle's mysterious atmosphere forces him to examine his own ambitions and relationship with power. Although some viewers expected more action from Daemon, his time at Harrenhal serves an important purpose. It explores the internal conflicts of a man who has spent his entire life pursuing greatness. Meanwhile, Rhaenyra faces a growing problem. Despite possessing several dragons, she lacks enough riders to use them effectively. Many powerful dragons remain without bonded riders, limiting her military options. To solve this issue, she launches an unprecedented initiative known as the Red Sowing. The plan involves recruiting people with Targaryen ancestry, even if they are distant relatives or illegitimate descendants. These individuals become known as dragonseeds. The process is extremely dangerous. Many candidates are burned alive or killed while attempting to approach the dragons. The risks are enormous, but the potential rewards are equally significant. Among the successful candidates is Hugh Hammer. Hugh eventually bonds with Vermithor, one of the largest dragons alive. Vermithor once belonged to King Jaehaerys I and possesses immense power. Another successful dragon seed is Ulf the White. Despite his flaws and questionable reputation, Ulf manages to claim Silverwing, another legendary dragon. The successful recruitment of new dragon riders dramatically strengthens Rhaenyra's position. For the first time, the Blacks begin to gain a significant numerical advantage in dragon power. As the season approaches its conclusion, every faction prepares for the next stage of the war. Armies gather across Westeros. Alliances are tested. Strategic positions become increasingly important. Alicent Hightower, exhausted by years of conflict, attempts one final effort to prevent complete catastrophe. She meets with Rhaenyra and explores the possibility of peace. The conversation highlights how much both women have changed since the beginning of the series. Once close friends, they are now leaders of opposing factions locked in a struggle for survival. Despite Alicent's efforts, peace remains impossible. Rhaenyra believes her claim is legitimate and cannot accept Aegon's continued rule. Too much blood has already been spilled. Too many loved ones have been lost. The cycle of revenge has become unstoppable. As the finale reaches its final moments, viewers witness armies mobilizing across the continent. Dragon riders prepare for battle. Commanders finalize their plans. Every major player understands that the true war is only beginning. The season ends by positioning the major forces for the conflicts ahead, particularly the long-awaited Battle of the Gullet. This battle has been heavily anticipated by fans because of its importance in the source material and its potential impact on the future of the war. By the end of Season 2, the realm stands on the edge of total destruction. Rhaenyra has gained new dragon riders and strengthened her military position. Aemond has effectively taken control of the Green War effort. Alicent's influence continues to decline. Daemon remains unpredictable. And the people of Westeros are trapped in the middle of a conflict that grows bloodier with each passing day. The Dance of the Dragons has officially begun, and if Season 2 was about preparing for war, Season 3 looks ready to show us the full horror of what that war will become. And that is everything you need to remember before watching House of the Dragon Season 3.